If there's one thing I've learned living near a lakefront community, it's this. Peace and silence are only sacred until the entitled show up. Hello, how are you today? This is The Mirror Moves, and we're going to tell you a story about some entitled people tore down a family's tent, claimed they were trespassing, and called the cops. But one hidden camera changed everything. Let's begin. It was meant to be a perfect weekend. Just me, my fiancée Ellie, and our favorite retreat. Our canvas lake tent pitched near a quiet inlet we privately owned. We had bought the parcel of land with our savings after years of scrimping, skipping luxuries, and sacrificing vacations. A humble investment into a quieter life. No one else came here. No tourists. No chaos. Just us and the sound of water brushing the shore. But that all changed when the Thompsons moved in 3 houses down. They came with big money energy, HOA connections, and the social subtlety of a marching band. Especially Meredith Thompson, whom we later coined Karen of the Lake. Her presence was impossible to ignore. Loud brunches, boat engines at 6 a.m., and a revolving door of guests that trampled over peace like a parade of clueless conquerors. Still, we never complained, never once raised a fuss, until one Saturday afternoon, when our quiet weekend turned into a circus. The day it all spiraled. That morning, Ellie and I were lounging by our canvas tent, sipping iced tea, reading our books. We had left a small speaker playing soft jazz, barely audible outside the tent's perimeter. Then we noticed movement down the path. A crowd. I stepped outside and saw a group of Meredith's friends, draped in sundresses, red solo cups in hand, stumbling right into our private lake plot. Without hesitation, they dropped their bags, popped open beers, and began tugging at the ropes of our tent. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" I shouted, rushing over. A woman in designer sunglasses turned and blinked at me like I was the one trespassing. "Oh, this spot was free," she said with a drunk shrug. "Meredith told us we could set up here." "No, this is private property," I said, pointing toward the faded wooden marker with our last name burned into it. "That tent's ours. You're trespassing." "Well, it doesn't look like private land," another chimed in. "You can't just hog the lake." They didn't just ignore me. They ripped down our tent. It collapsed into a heap as laughter bubbled from their group, like it was all one big, harmless joke. I wanted to yell. I wanted to rage. But I knew what would happen if I did. And I was right. Minutes later, Meredith stomped into view wearing a silk beach robe and a snarl. "You made my guests uncomfortable," she accused, not even greeting us. "That tent shouldn't have been there in the first place. It's a safety hazard." I was so stunned I could barely reply. Ellie, calm as always, stepped forward and said, "You can't just give people access to our property. We own this land. We have every right to be here." "Do you, though?" Meredith smirked. "Because I don't see any official signs." I pointed again to the wooden marker. "Real signs. Legal ones." Then she whipped out her phone and called 911. The cops arrived and nearly sided with her. When the police showed up, the scene looked messy. Our tent was collapsed. The party guests were scattered. Meredith was crying, yes, literally sobbing, about how we were hostile squatters and had set up camp on public recreational land. The officers pulled me aside, clearly confused. Meredith waved her HOA badge like it was a federal ID. But Ellie, she stayed composed, quiet, and then she said 4 magical words that changed everything. "Check the footage, please." We had set up a discreet wildlife camera on the far tree line, mostly to spot raccoons, but it caught everything. Every step of the trespassing, every laugh, Every tear of canvas, every line Meredith told, the moment it all turned around. When the footage played back on Ellie's phone, the officers' postures changed completely. I watched one of them glance at the other, mutter under his breath, and walk back to Meredith with a noticeably less sympathetic expression. All right, thank you for watching. Give us a thumb up if you like our content, and don't forget to subscribe and comment in the section below. The Mirror Moves will always listen to your voices.